Hey, hi everybody. Hello, and welcome to another session of Conversations with Geoff, right? Oh man, just gonna be me today. Hey, and I welcome everybody that's new. And listen, I want to talk to you about what I believe and what our guests believe. That's right, we bring guests in here to come in here and share their power, share their encouragement, strength, and hope around what we're talking about, what we believe to be the most underutilized gift, asset, or value that we all have as human beings, man. Those of you that know me, you know what it's all about. You know we're talking about that conversation you're having with yourself about yourself. That thinking. Oh, that chatter that goes on. You had it going on right now before we got into the show. That one side's telling you all these things you can't do, and the other side's telling you, whispering, because if you're not nurturing it, if you're not building it, it's just a whisper that you are worthy, that you are capable of success, that yes, you are born for greatness. It's whispering to you, right? Because one of them is running all the time. And it's unfortunately for most folks, it's the strongest one. And it's that stinking thinking that runs. So I made some notes again today to kind of share some things. And I want you to remember that once we figure out the stinking thinking, because here's the thing, life shows up, right? And our life, man, is about, let me say it a different way. There's folks out there that are chasing their purpose, that are chasing their dreams, that are defying the odds, and they're giving all they can to what this life is giving them. And they're facing that comeback, right? We talk about comebacks, people say resets, whatever it is, roadblocks. But man, listen to me, the power that you're looking for is in the comeback. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to happen to you whether you want to be or accept it or not. So listen to me. Let me know where you're coming from as we go through this conversation. Let me know, Facebook, IG, wherever it might be. And then, hey, this conversation can only happen if you're dropping some stuff in the chat. I'm the one that's talking, you got to chat, right? So back to what I was saying, man, power. And it's a little cool in here. It's going to warm up, so I'm going to take my jacket off in a second. So, the power we're talking about is life lessons, right? So, I gotta tell you this story, because it's really about life and our lives, man. It's kind of like, like a roller coaster, I guess, right? Because it's, you get in, you're born to this thing called life, and then you're carried around, nurtured, mom holds your, dad holds you, and then puts you in a stroller, and you're pushed around, and then right, so you're already rolling in something, right? And now you begin to crawl and shuffle a little bit, and you fall as you start to walk, and now you're hobbling and walking at the same time. So you're at that little infancy stage of roller coaster. And then you get a little older and you get to that mid-range roller coaster. You start doing things on your own and you start learning things about life, and you run into these challenges, these things that you have to come back from. But oftentimes we are not able to talk about the confusion of the messaging that we're hearing about ourselves from other people, or the experiences that we're having for other people. But our subconscious records everything. Everything in our life is being recorded. Good things, bad things, the struggles, all that stuff's getting recorded, right? And what we don't realize, man, is that as a baby and as a child, that stuff is confusing. And oftentimes there's no place for that child to take that conversation. So we get stuck inside. I'm talking about just story, right? And stuck inside. So we hide things, we stuff things in, and we go about life thinking we got everything on control on the outside, but we become master stuffers of things and our feelings, our emotions, and all that stuff, right? But I got to tell you a story, man, about roller coasters, because why it's so important. When we grew up, there was this cool amusement park not too far away from us, right? And it's a park kind of in the city, and then all of a sudden you roll up and you see these great big wooden roller coaster, this thing that's built on these little wooden braces, and it's real tall, man. And you have the Ferris wheel and some other rides, but there's that roller coaster. And I don't know how old I was, like 8 or 9, old enough to get on the roller coaster, right? So I get in the park and I'm looking at this thing as I'm walking by. I mean, it's tall, and I'm a little kid, and you hear all these people screaming on the roller coaster, right? And, oh man. So I get on this thing, right? And I'm gonna just kind of abbreviate the story. So I get on there, and they put this thing on, a harness, and something that closes down, so you're stuck on this thing. And they say go, almost. And the machine goes and it pulls up the hill and goes down. And life is like that, right? When you get in, you're born, you're thrown out there in the world, you experience some things, and all I can tell you is that I closed my eyes and I probably crying the whole time. But listen to me when I say this. When I grew up, boys don't scream, boys don't cry, boys, you got to be a man, right? So, man, I got off that roller coaster petrified with nowhere to go, no one to talk to, right? And all I heard was people that were screaming and crying like little babies. You weren't like that, were you? Right? So we learn all this stuff about ourselves, man, on this roller coaster called life. But I want to tell you something: the power of understanding the impact that we can have. Master, I made some notes. Remembering, number one, that this thing goes on in our life, right? This thing of thinking keeps rolling, it's spinning, man, all the time, and you're either working on it or you're not, right? And so becoming aware of it. Some of you are, some of you aren't, right? And then I talk about it all the time. And then what? Once you're aware of it, become deliberate about stopping. You guys just put the brakes on that crap, right? And then once you do that, and then be determined to start to replace it. I talk about this every week, guys. Determined to replace it, but you got to do the work in between being deliberate and determining to replace it. Kind of writing down some things that when you know, if it's relationship-wise, that you are terrible in relationships, you've never had a good relationship, you're not worthy to be in a good relationship, then you change that. I am now a viable person. I bring love to a relationship. I am honest, open-minded, and willing in a relationship. So you begin to replace whatever it is for you. You start to write those things down and replace that stuff. And then lastly, before I get into things, show yourself some grace. I mean, this is a lifelong process, right? And unfortunately, most people get up every day and they do the same thing, and they come home and they get up and do it over and over and over again, right? But I'm talking to those folks that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, that know that they are meant for more, and they just can't get out of their own way. Or the person that's killing it, they understand the gift of what I'm talking about, they've used it. Now you can come back and help other folks, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do, I think. And then there's some that are just kind of figuring it out about life and starting to begin that journey. So it applies to everybody. So anyway, so today I wanted to just kind of, it's still January. I think it's the 9th or something like that, right? And everybody's still freaking out about their goals, and I'm not going to talk about that because that's not my thing, right? To discuss like that. But I thought about what is it that gets in our way. What is it that, man, puts the brakes on? What is it that just kind of always shows up? And for me, and so the subject's going to be around procrastination. So I wrote down, and what I like you to do is when you think of procrastination, and what is it that you procrastinate over? And if you know why, put that in the chat. And if you don't know why, put a question mark. So if you're hearing the recording, if you're here today, if you could help me out, what is it that you procrastinate over? What is procrastination to you? I think I have it in the chat as a definition. I love doing these things with definitions. Hey, Steve, so appreciate you being here. Talking about some grace. Yes, the power is found in the comeback, first of all, right? That's what we talk about. Your message is in the mess. Keep moving forward. But let's find the procrastination here. I put that up there. Procrastination, the action of delaying or postponing something. I know you guys know this, but please just work with me, right? And it's the action of the delaying or postponing something, usually by focusing on less urgent and more enjoyable and easier activities instead. Who does that? Who's guilty of what's easier to do? I'm talking about doing the most important thing first versus laying in the weeds. That laying in the weeds is that stuff that's less urgent. That stuff that's easier to do, maybe more enjoyable, right? But man, listen to me when I tell you this. Procrastination can be used as a mechanism to help remind you of where you are, and that help you hit that reset button, baby. And then what happens after that? You begin to be deliberate when it shows up. You start to replace it and be determined to do that with these other things I've been talking to you about. And it's a whole different thing. But I thought about what kind of causes procrastination. So I listed some things, and I asked you guys to do that too. So here I'm going to kind of just go through these things, and there's some order to it, but I don't have them in order, right? Because you may be at different stages in your life, and so I just kind of put down some things that I want you to think about as I'm talking about them. And I'm only going to hit the highlights of them, and we go into deeper sessions around them and different types of meetings. But I want you to just kind of put down your stuff as you're thinking and listening to me, right? So the first one that kind of creates or instigates procrastination in our behaviors is I want to talk about to those perfectionists out there. Who was out there that, man, I just have one more thing I have to do before I can just ask her out for a date. I got to get my hair cut. I got, for the fifth time, or I got one more document that I need to put together in my presentation for my promotion. Or, I know I'm meant to serve in the community and I've done all this work, but I have to do one more thing before I take action. So perfectionism, the expectation and fear of failure. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. Expectation and fear of failure. I haven't had anything to drink, guys, not for a long, long time, and it's really coffee in my cup. I just got excited about doing all this stuff earlier, and so I put it on notes. So here we go. Perfectionism, expectations, and fearing failure keeps us from making mistakes. So we don't take any action at all. It's just got to be just right. It delays us starting, man. And I always tell people, done, and write this down, done is better than perfect. So those of you out there that are really holding on to perfectionism, if you really, really want to get some things figured out, hit me up. I'll put my information up here so you can reach out and we can talk about what that is in greater detail. But man, I got to tell you something. And my contact information, I think, is coming up here in a second. It's right there. Yeah. About why. Why do I have to be a perfectionist? What am I really holding on to? Why does it keep getting in my way? Right. And so delay starting to avoid potential imperfections. Basically being afraid to appear to suck at something new. I like to say that, right? But afraid to, so you don't do it. Right? Stop it. I mean that in a loving way, but stop it. And now here's a quote for you. The best way to get something done is to start. And that author is unknown who does that, but I say it all the time. The best way to get something done is to start. Done is better than perfect. You are valuable, and that's something that will benefit you later, but right now it can get in your way. All right? So, number 2, lack of motivation. You lack interest in something, or intrinsic motivation. It's really not your thing, right? You think about something you want to do, but you always find yourself, maybe you're just not interested in it. You have to really spend some time with yourself to answer that question. Maybe you're just not. Or you don't have the clarity. Clarity is an important element, man. If you're not clear on something, you might love it, but every time you do it, you screw it up. So you're like, oh man, maybe it's me after a while, right? But so spend some time. If it's something that you really feel like you want, but you just can't get motivated. But that's a hard one for me because if it's something I want, in my life has shown me that anything that I've wanted, got clear on it. I guess that's the thing. And I went after it like crazy. Nothing stopped me until I got it done. That's why people that know about me know I'm relentless, right? Like a pit bull, baby. When I get a hold of something, I don't want to let go until I get it done. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just not your thing. But I made a note here. Clear sense of purpose or clarity. Things are easy to put off if you really aren't clear on it or that is something you want. Here we go with the quote I have. The future depends on what you do today. And that's from Gandhi. Gandhi was a bad brother, man. So it's what you do today, man. So we're missing out on what it is you have to offer because you're not sure it's your thing. You're not motivated. Maybe it isn't. So anyway, we're talking about number 3. Let me see. Time. Yeah. Number 3, overwhelm. How many of us have been overwhelmed on something? We really just like, oh crap, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I have so much work to do. Like they say, overwhelmed, the elephant size thing. So we're overwhelmed and stuck by the magnitude of the task. Here's what I'll tell you. I ask you to breathe. You guys know I like the whole breathing process, man. There's so much power. Just do a second when you hear this thing. Take a moment, you probably running around crazy, and just get a deep breath inside, not to move that belly. Feel that belly full of air in your chest. and exhale it out. And with that, think about the anxiety, think about the stress, think about the pressure just leaving your body. And do that a couple times. And then do it a couple times more. And don't think of, they say, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? I'd like you to think of it more like a snack. Everybody knows what a snack is. Right? Who likes to snack? Everybody likes to snack, right? So think of it as a snack, all right? And so whatever the first thing is you need to do is snack number one. Whatever the second thing is you need to do is snack number two. Whatever the third thing is snack number three. And what do you do when if you're a snacker, like my wife is, if you're a snacker, when that bag of chips is empty, what do? You go back and get some more. So you stayed on that snack until you got it finished. Then you go to the second. You guys get the message, right? Excuse me. Man, this quote is really strong here. It's overwhelm could also, I want to say this too, could be a part of a lack of plan or effective strategies. That's from the business side of it, right? What are you really doing? What are you really thinking about? How much time have you put into planning? How much stinking thinking is showing up, getting in your way, right? No more stinking thinking about you're not capable. I told you couldn't do this thing. What do you think you are? Or who do you think you are trying to be somebody else other than the rest of us? How many of you out there are dimming your light so those around you feel better about themselves? Stop it if that's you. I did that stuff as an athlete, as a young kid. When we were doing these I'm gonna tell my age, but back when I was in school, we did these things for national rankings and all this, so I was just killing it. And then my football coach came over and pulled me aside. He said, "So, what are you doing? What are you doing? I know you can do a whole lot more and a whole lot better." I said, I want everybody to like me, so I don't want to be, this person. I don't want to be who I should be. And he said, "I will beat your blah, 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 blah. If you do that ever again in your life, you have gifts, you need to use them. So if that's you out there and you're having gifts and you're holding on to them because of whatever reason, be bold, baby. Don't stop." All right? Quote from, "But as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded." That's Psalms 20-4. So check that one out. "But as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded." All right. So doing all right. So you got a couple more minutes here. This one, we already know is that procrastination really is tied oftentimes to fear of failure or success, right? Failure leads to disappointment. Failure leads to reminding yourselves of all the things that you couldn't do right. Failure leads to embarrassment. Failure leads to all this negative self-imaging, all that stuff that goes along with that. But let me tell you something, failure is not a bad thing. Failure is necessary. I'm going to say it again. Failure is necessary in order for you to step into your greatness, in order for you to overcome whatever it is that gets in your way on a regular basis, or whatever it is that just stops you in your tracks. Learn to love failure. Learn to get excited about failure. Learn to, like I do, rub your hands together and say, all right, bring it, let's go. Right? Bring it on, man. Whatever it takes to get it finished, man. I could talk about that forever, but success creates anxiety. Let's talk about that, right? Fear of success. I didn't think that was possible early on in my life, in my professional life. But as I realized, started doing some work on my insides, looking at how I behaved, I realized, man, oftentimes I got in my own way. I turned the light switch off when life was growing. I turned off that thermometer. I turned it back down. You guys have heard about the thermometer and the thermostat, right? Well, the thermometer, life is cool at 72, and then, but you want to change it, so you become the stat, and you start to elevate yourself, so you're going to 80 degrees, 90 degrees, life is good, and all of a sudden your brain starts telling you, man, you've never been here before. It's a little cold, it's a little hot here, right? Let's get back down here where it's comfortable. And you begin, like I did, to do things that are self-destructive, and you find yourself, like I did, back at 72 degrees, comfortable, wondering how I got there. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer, baby. Success is a good thing, man. and the responsibilities and the expectations around success that you probably need some help on how you embrace those, that you probably need some help in understanding what that means. And that's a good thing. So procrastination is the thief of time. Procrastination is the thief of time. And you're stealing your life. You're stealing opportunities for success in your life by procrastinating. And the failures are going to happen. But learn to love failures and keep it moving, right? I'm telling you something. And find something that you can remind yourself of. You are worthy of success, right? I mean, I love that because for me, it was a lot of times about, I don't think I was worthy of things, right? That was my stuff. Procrastination is a thief of time. Check that out, right? So move. Here's another one we all know. This one, lack of clarity or direction. We talked about it already, about clarity and how important clarity is. You already know that, right? And clarity, man, is such a thing. What are those C's? Clarity, confidence, courageous, competent, right? All that stuff. Lack of clarity or direction. So if you really want something and you keep finding yourself in the same doggone spot all the time, then are you clear about what it is you want? Or do you need some help getting the garbage cleared out so you can say, oh, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then, oh, this is who or how I'm going to get it done. Who's going to help me if I can't do it? And go get it done that way, man. And then it's still going to be tough. You still got to show up. You still got to do the work. But I'm going to tell you this. There's magic in being persistent in what I just shared with you, putting that stuff into practice on a regular basis when you don't want to, when you don't feel like it, when you're sick, when somebody's laughed at you, or someone said no, or you can add on whatever it is that you show up and you keep doing it. Keep doing it, man. So I've got a couple more, but I think I'm going to kind of just I'm gonna be back here, I think, on Thursday. So if you are, we'll kind of work with this on Thursday, and then I've got some other things to kind of tie around and recap. But I want you to remember those first four things. Perfection is procrastination's friend, right? Lack of motivation, also. Overwhelmed and can't figure it out, right? When you're overwhelmed, I want you to do this. I want you to become unstoppable. I am unstoppable. You do it over here, so you do that stuff, right? What was it? Overwhelmed, and then fear of failure or success. It fuels that procrastination. It slows you down, brings that temperature back down to 72, man. Lack of clarity. Can't see. You're in the fog, right? And that's what's wrong. And I'm just going to say that's what I believe is wrong with people setting their goals. They start, every year you set a goal, and oftentimes you don't get it, so you set the same goal next year, and it gets more cloudy and feels unattainable more and more every time you set it, because you've really lost what it is you need in order to make that a possibility. So as I say this to you, I'm not asking you to do this. I want you to remember, when you go in the mirror tomorrow, or whatever you hear, so you go in the mirror tomorrow, look and see who's looking back at you. And then listen to what chatter's going on in your head. Who's running the show inside? What conversation is running the show for you? Are you becoming the disruptor? You guys know once you're aware of it, then you become the disruptor. You stop letting it run. You stop letting it run. You begin to run. Right? You become unstoppable in your message. And you start in the morning. You do that in the morning. You do that stuff, right? And if you wake up in the morning and you go in the bathroom and don't want to turn the lights on, that's an indicator that you really got some stinking thinking. And if you're on fire and you go in there and you turn on all the lights and you're praising and you're happy, then come back and let us know how you're doing it so you can help some other people, right? God, we got to change the narrative. Change the narrative, we change our lives. Measure our progress. Nothing changes if you don't measure it, right? And then remember, give yourself some grace. Steph put it in the chat, give yourself some grace. So I think I wrote this down. Let me see if I can find it. The power, listen to me, guys. The power is in the comeback. Oh, man. I don't know if you hear me on that. The power is in the comeback. It's there. It's a part of life. It's that roller coaster. Once you get your butt on it, you got to ride, right? Let's get your gifts from your lessons. And let's stop hiding behind all these things like procrastination, fear, self-doubt, past mistakes, rejection that we've been talking about. And dig in, baby. let's get connected. My information is right here. I encourage you to reach out. My calendar is in there, calendar link. Find that calendar link. Hey, Geoff, we need to chat. And let's get this thing moving, man. Look, especially for you that are for those of you who have already turned off the chase for 2024 goals, you really need to hear this. We got some things that help you get restored in your mission and find your way to the next level. So listen, had a great time chatting. Woo, man, it's cold again, so I'm going to go. I want you to know that we believe in you. You are worthy. You are valuable. And let's change that stinking thinking. Let's find out what it is that's holding us back. Do yourself a favor. Let's begin right now. Hit me up. Have a great day. Appreciate everybody listening. And I believe I'll be back Thursday, so we'll finish this up. So appreciate everyone. Have a fantastic day. No more thinking. Your power is in the comeback, baby. Let's get that purpose out. People are waiting for you. Man, my voice is about going, so I'm going. See you on the next episode. Bye-bye.